Hey, my name is Ralph and I'm with Flexfilm, and our brand new 2017 tool catalog has come out, and we're going to go through it and pick out some of my favorite tools. Okay, I'm turning to page 1 and I see a lot of knives and blades. I'm going to instantly go to the GT027, which is the NT Pro. I like this knife the best because it gives me the half segment increments. And the other knives, which are these Olfas that I prefer, give me the one click per blade. I like to have a little more control with the NT knife that I feel like I'm getting over the Olfa. Sometimes I'll take the red dot knife and just put some tape around it if I want to put different blades and maybe carry multiple knives so that I don't get them confused. I can sometimes accomplish the same goal with using some of these Olfa knives with colored sleeves around them, but I'm leaning more towards doing everything now with the NT and just putting tape around the end so that I know which knife that I'm using. Okay, also on page 1, I'm looking at the multi-blade cartridge knives. I personally don't own one. I do everything with the NT Pro knife, and I told you earlier that I put the different color tapes around the ends. If you like multi-cartridge knives and you don't want to carry a lot of blades around, then you may choose one of these knives. If that were the case, I would probably choose the NT injector knife, but personally I don't own one and don't prefer to use them for automotive use. Okay, on page 2 under knives and blades, where it says standard 9mm blades, there's lots of choices here that are very popular. But let's just say that for me, I'm just going to stick with the traditional stainless steel Olfa blade. I like that blade, and I also like the GT1031, which is the carbon version. It's actually 25% sharper. I use the carbon blades to do cuts along top edges of windows, and I use the stainless steel blades to possibly cut on cars or anytime I don't want to damage glass, because I certainly wouldn't want to cut with the black carbon blade because they are very dangerous. There's some other blades here that are popular as well. The NT version is very popular. We don't really sell many of the KDS, even though I haven't found that much of an issue with that blade. I just prefer the Olfa, but if somebody were to give me some of the NT versions, I would still be happy with that, the stainless steel. But as far as my choice, I'm going to stick with the Olfa series, and I'm going to go with the carbon, and I'm going to go with the stainless steel blades. And I generally prefer to buy the 50 pack other than the smaller packs. Okay, I'm moving on to page 5, and I'm going to look at retractable scrapers, or any other scrapers for that matter, even if they're not retractable. But I like the retractable ones, and that's the GT138 is my pick. I don't really use anything else other than the GT138, and I don't prefer to hold the blades in my hand without something to protect me from getting cut. Okay, also on page 5, they're blades. And the blades that I'm going to favor are the single-edge stainless steel blades that are stainless steel. I like the GT137. The reason I like them the best is because they just last longer. I can get more windows per blade than I can the other blade, even though the other blades will save money. Okay, on the handle squeegee section, that would be pages 6, 7, 8, and 9. There's one tool that stands out that I recommend. I use it as a daily driver, every day, every car. It's the classic Blue Max with the Pro Unger handle. However, there's a lot of handled squeegees that you must have. You may not use them on every car, but when you need them, you're going to need them, and the Blue Max isn't going to take care of everything. I'm going to say the bulldozer, that's going to be the GT205. That's going to have to be a must. I'll have to own that. I'm also going to have to own a side swiper with a blade. That's a GT207. And I'm going to use that to get into some really tough areas that my Blue Max isn't going to be able to get to. The paddle squeegee, which is the bulldozer, I'm going to use it to get behind brake lights in all hard to reach places. And I'm going to also point out that there is a Go Doctor series, and I believe those tools are very nice. They're actually as good as the classic Blue Max series. I just chose the Blue Max because I'm comfortable with it, but I don't want to imply that the Go Doctor series is not something to look into. I don't know if you would need all 3 of the tools, but at least I would choose the yellow one. That's sort of my all-purpose tool. You would choose the blue one or the red one if you like harder or softer squeegees. and that would be the only reason, but I'd go with the one in the middle because you can kind of do everything with that and adequately get things done. And that's how I would approach the handled squeegees. Okay, in the squeegee essentials section, that would include page 10, 11, and 12. There's about 4 tools that stand out to me that I'm gonna have to own. I'm gonna probably use them every day on every car I touch. The rest of them I literally won't even touch. Not to imply they're bad, that's just my pick. I'm gonna start off with saying that the Easy Wing Lime and the Easy Wing White are two tools that I'm gonna own in my pouch. I like these tools, they're fairly new, and I can use them to actually squeegee on film and maneuver in little cracks where I'm trying to get film to slide into. Very thin, very rigid, very safe for film not to scratch. I'm also going to point out that these Platinum Easy Reach tools, like the GT 200 PLT, have to have it. I'm going to be very cautious when I use that tool when I'm actually touching the window film. I'm going to use it more to maneuver window film into cracks and crevices, and I'm going to be very careful using this tool on little quarter windows or hard to reach areas where I can't get much in there, but I can get this tool in there. But I'm going to be very careful how I use the tool because it will scratch, and if you're careful, you'll be fine. Of course, the Triad series, I'm going to talk about the regular Triad series and the X. I'm just going to own every single one of those. That plastics technology is some of the best I've ever seen. I mean, we've come a long way from Bondo cards. This is like Bondo cards with a science. The different colors represent the different hardnesses. I like the yellows and the blues, and I'm really starting to like the pink, which has just come out this year. I'm not a big fan of the orange ones. I probably don't need or would purchase the orange ones. They're a little harder than what I'm used to, and they tend to scratch the way I like to tint. But last but not least, I'm going to probably have to have the Platinum Smart Card, the GT1070. This is the card I'm going to use on every car. I'm going to use that card on side windows and rear windows and front windshields anytime I heat mold, only on the outside. Instead of using my hand, I'm going to use this card, and it's flexible, it's wide, it's thin at the very end, and it's going to be the one that I'm going to use to do all my heat mold, and I recommend that one and all these other tools. The other ones, I personally don't even have them, wouldn't buy them, not that I'm trying to talk bad about them, I just can get everything done with the tools that I've just went over. Okay, I'm going to skip all the way over to page 15, and I'm going to talk about hard cards. This is kind of difficult for me to say, but I've used hard cards my whole life, and it's very difficult for me not to use them anymore, but that's kind of what's happened. I used to buy the GT086W and the GT086 Black, and I'm probably still going to own them, and I'm going to keep them around, but I'm finding myself not using them anymore. If it wasn't for all the new squeegee essentials that we just went over, I would still use hard cards, but I've been able to just about replace all my hard cards with all the squeegee essentials that we just went over. I know there's some new lime cards that have come out. Again, they're hard cards, and they're probably just different versions of the ones that we've used for years, and I'm sure they're good. I'm hearing great things about them, but I'm just not using hard cards anymore for automotive use. So on page 15, I really can't recommend anything. If you really just wanted to spend a few bucks and get some because they're not that expensive, I would go with the white and the black hard cards. I would go with the GT079, the gold card. That's really popular if you want to use that style card. And I would certainly be up to trying some of the lime speed wings to see how you like those. But as far as I'm concerned, personally, I don't use anything on this page. It kind of hurts me to say that, but that is true with the newer technology that's coming out, that's already come out. Okay, I'm on page 16, and I'm a big fan of the tube squeegees. Tube squeegees have been around a long time, and most old school people like me will use the tube squeegees. I've taken the red turbos and I've modified them to make really nice tools to squeegee in hard to reach areas like back windows and front windshields. The yellow turbo series is my daily driver. I cut it short, I cut a point on it so that I can squeegee just about anything I want. The point helps me get into the hard to reach places. Some people are doing the same thing with just Blue Max squeegees and various hard cards that they're using. I'm just doing it with the yellow turbo. So I'm going to recommend that if you want to try a really good squeegee that you can hold in your hand, I don't recommend using the tube that comes with it. I like to file the edges, make it smooth, and just hold it in my hand. But I like the yellow turbo. That's my daily driver, and I cut them about 5 inches, 6 inches, and I make sure there's a point on the end, just like this. Okay, on page 17 and 18, we have installation accessories. There's about 3 or 4 things that you're going to have that I recommend on these 2 pages. The first one is the gasket push stick. If you choose not to buy the gasket push stick, you could use a popsicle stick or a wooden chopstick, but I like the little white gasket push stick because I can detail little things out with the way the end is shaped, but I can also use it as a wedge if I need to pull things out to move film into small or hard to reach cracks. It's always a tool that I'm going to use on probably every 3rd car, but I've got to have that. The second thing I've got to have, and I use it every day, I'm wearing it right now, is the waist apron. You can go to Home Depot and get a waist apron. You can buy a nice waist apron from our catalog, but just I'm an apron guy. I like to carry the top 10 tools that I want to use on every car with me at all times, and wherever I go, and when I'm done, I put them back in my apron. On page 18, there are 2 things here. I wouldn't say you have to buy our heat gun, but you're going to have a heat gun. You can go to the local hardware store. You can buy one through our catalog, but a heat gun is a must. I don't even know how you would tint windows without one. But this is something I'd definitely say if you're going to be professional, and this is something you're going to do every day, you've got to have a steamer. Out of the 2 steamers that are offered in the catalog, I like the GT 921. There is a nicer, bigger steamer, but the biggest drawback I have to that steamer is just how long it takes to fire up. As soon as you turn it on, it takes several minutes for it to be ready to use, whereas the GT 921, you can turn it on, and it's pretty much ready to use just in a few minutes, and it doesn't take a long time. Hey, time is money, and it adds up, so I don't want to sit around waiting for my steamer all day long. When I'm ready to use it, I'm ready to use it, and the GT 921 is a little less expensive. Okay, on page 19, under Measure, Mark, and Trim, there's about 3 or 4 items on this page that I'm going to own myself, but it depends on how you want to run your business as to whether you want to own the same things that I want to own. For example, I want to own the dot matrix vinyl. The vinyl is not something I'm going to use every day. I might even use it every 6 months, but when I need it because the vinyl is something I'm going to use on matrix dots when I want to black them out when other methods aren't working for me or the customer. There's probably some things like the black acrylic felt. If you're ever going to want to remove a door panel and re-felt or felt a rub rail, you have to have something like this to do it. If you're in the business of refelting door panel rub rails, then this product is a must. The yellow film marker, you can also use Sharpies. If you're going to need a marker to mark your film for any reason, this yellow film marker is something you can buy from us. If you want to use the Sharpies like me, then you buy them at Walmart or somewhere like that. A must for me are these 2 film opaquer pens. It's kind of embarrassing to say this. I'm sure somebody may bash me somewhere along the line, but I'm always going to need a black felt marker pen. It's actually got paint in it. You can also find them at somewhere like Hobby Lobby in the model section. There's actual paint in this, and you could, I guess, paint a model car, but what we're going to use them for is actually hiding little light gaps, or we're going to use them to black out the inside of windows in trouble area where our film won't reach. I guess you could use them a wrong way where you're trying to black out parts of people's windows because of horrible mistakes that you've made. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you to use it the right way, but always have one handy because they are handy to have. And then on the bottom here, we've got rulers and we've got what they call triangles. I like the triangles because I like the circles. There's always an instance where you're going to need to cut out a perfect circle around something, and that template right there provides you with that because it's an aluminum and it won't cut with the blade, and you can always get the most perfect, beautiful little cuts using that tool right there. As far as rulers, I use a ruler every day on every car. You can buy them here. Those are nice rulers, but you can also buy rulers at places like the office supply store, and there's even different types of rulers there that I like. I do use this one. I like the 18 to 24 inch ruler for automotive use. I don't typically buy anything longer than that because it just kind of gets in my way. Okay, on page 20, which is sprayer and accessories. I could probably talk a long time about this. I don't think there's any right or wrong answer. I'm going to speak for myself. This is my good old favorite right here, the impact sprayer. If I were going to choose a pressurized sprayer over the ones that I've seen in the past, this is my favorite one. It's just the most durable one on the market I've seen. It's got a really strong handle. It's just got a good shape. It's not too thick around the neck, and everything about it is just extremely durable. If you also like pump sprayers, I recommend that the Spraymaster, the GT090, that's a very, very good sprayer. They're also available at places like Home Depot. If you're liking the 5-gallon capacity tanks, there's a couple here that you may want to look into, which is the GT101G and the GT101N that I would recommend that you take a look at. They're both really nice. Okay, on page 21 and 22, we have cleaning and prep and chemicals. There's a lot of things on here that I'm going to have to own. And I'm going to start off with a white scrub pad. And you can get the 1-inch thick or the thinner one, but I use that scrub pad on just about every window when I clean with our pre-tack. I actually can say that I'm using the white scrub pads more now than I am with the razor blades. If I can get away with using the pad and the pre-tack without scraping, I'm going to do it every time. I'm also going to look at the scrubber. This is the GT209. This is a paddle scrubber. You can put your white scrub pad or some steel wool or really just about anything that'll stick to the little Velcro patch and really get a lot of leverage when you scrub, and you can scrub in places that are very hard to reach. The scrubber is actually a daily driver for me. I'm going to probably use it somehow, some way on just about every car. I'm also going to look at some of these window cleaners. I love a foam spray cleaner. I like the spray away glass cleaner. We can sell it here, or you can get it at places like Home Depot, which is seen everywhere. I'm also going to recommend for glue or adhesive remover, the Super Stripper, which is the GT1071. Okay, I want to talk about slitters and accessories and also meters, which is page 23, 24, and 25, which is the remainder of the catalog. And a lot of this has a lot to do with how you want to run your business, but a lot of professionals enjoy nice slitters, and there are some great slitters called the Film Handler to consider. They make them in a 72-inch now. Don't have to have that. It's not something I use as my daily driver. Some of the best window film installers I've seen cut right out of the box. But if you want to look into nicer slitters, these are nice slitters. I personally don't need one. Haven't used one in my career. I have, however, used the GT100 2T or 1000 2T clean cut box slitter tray. I use that on a regular basis. It's really inexpensive, and I can put it on top of a ladder or mount it on a shelf, and I can just get it to hold my box so that I don't have to worry about my box falling off when I pull the film out. That's something that I recommend if that's in your budget. But on the last few pages, there's just a lot of different meters, and it depends on how much information you need to know about your window films, and if you understand what these meters are telling you. They're all very accurate, but if you don't understand how to read a meter, I wouldn't recommend you get it and try to sell film with it. It may be misleading. But there is one meter in particular that I recommend that everybody I think must have, which would be the simple Enforcer 2 by Laser Labs. It's going to be the GT2064. That's your all-purpose meter that anytime you're done with a car, you put it on the car, and that's going to give you probably the most accurate reading that you can expect to find out what the VLT is and what other law enforcement or how they're going to perceive it. There is another meter, however, that if your budget allows, that's just come out. It's the GT2034. This one, in my opinion, is the most advanced meter on the market, and it's probably within the realm of being affordable. It's under $1,000, but it's a broad spectrum meter. It'll almost replace every meter on here within reason, but it'll meter the most accurate in the entire spectrum. And if you're looking for some really accurate information with the most spectrum ability, this is the one. And this is, if your budget allows, own this meter. And anytime you want to see what's going on with the window film, you're probably going to get 99.9% accuracy and see what that is. Hey, if you like our video, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like our video, give us a thumbs down. Hey, we're pumping these videos out every week, so consider subscribing so you'll be instantly notified when our videos are coming out.